DirectFix.com presents the Nintendo DS Lite Take Apart and Screen Replacement Directions. Warning, this content is intended to be used for informational and entertainment purposes only. You're using these video directions and its content at your own risk. AX Microsolution Inc. makes no representation, warranties, or condition of any kind, express or implied. Following these directions on this video will void your warranty. You're performing this repair at your own risk. Be sure to visit us on the web at DirectFix.com for all your parts and accessory needs. At checkout, use coupon code YouTube for 5% off your first order. Using a small Phillips screwdriver, remove the screw that holds the battery door on. The screw will stay with the battery door. You're now going to remove the battery from the battery compartment. Using a small flat blade screwdriver, lift up the two rubber feet that are on the bottom of the case. Underneath it will expose two small Phillips screws. Using a small Phillips screwdriver, remove the two screws. Using a Phillips screwdriver, remove the two screws that were underneath the battery. Using a special tri-wing screwdriver, remove the three tri-wing screws. There is one more tri-wing screwdriver that needs to be removed by the Nintendo DS game slot. Using a case opener tool, run it along the edge of the bottom half of the plastics to separate it. You will now be able to lift up the bottom plastics. You're now going to remove the two trigger buttons. Be careful, there is a pin holding the spring in together as an assembly. Using a small flat blade screwdriver, pop up the small wire that is on like a little bottle cap. It'll just pop up. Next, you're going to need to thread that small wire underneath the game card slot and out the other side. Be careful, there is a lot of things to get in the way and sometimes it gets stuck. Take your time. Using a small Phillips screwdriver, remove the screw that's holding the motherboard to the plastics. Using a flat blade screwdriver, pop up the other wire. This one is running underneath the motherboard and will not be removed at this time yet. Using a small flat blade screwdriver, there is a ribbon in a connector at the top of the motherboard near the card slot. Lift the little black plastic tab up and that will allow you to remove the ribbon out from inside the connector. You will now be able to lift the motherboard and screen together as one piece. Be careful, there is still a connector connected. Using a small flat blade, lift the tab up, releasing the ribbon cable out. Once again, with the screen held to the motherboard, lift the black tab up and release the ribbon cable, which will free the screen. Using an X-Acto blade, you're now going to separate the touch panel from the LCD. Run the X-Acto blade between the two layers. This will free the touch panel away from the LCD assembly. If you are replacing the lower LCD assembly, most of the time you'll need to transfer the touch panel over. Be careful not to cut any ribbons while removing the touch panel. Using an X-Acto blade, you're going to remove the 4 feet that are on the top front screen assembly to access the screws that are underneath them. Using a small Phillips screwdriver, remove the 4 screws from the top screen plastics. Once the screws are removed, pressing the back plastic up and the front plastic down will start to separate the two. Using a case opener tool, run it along both edges to free the back half of the plastic case. Turn the assembly over and using a small Phillips screwdriver, remove the 2 screws holding the hinge in place. Please note the 2 hinge screws are extremely long. Turning the top screen back over, you're now going to release the white cable. You're now going to thread the ribbon cable and 2 small wires through the hinge. Now remove the 2 small white pieces of tape that are holding the wires in place. You need to release these prior to removing the screen. You're now able to lift the screen up. There is some adhesive holding it in place, so do it gently but firmly. You're now going to need to thread the ribbon cable and 2 wires through the other half of the hinge. This will require you to wrap the ribbon cable around the wires in a circular pattern to fit through the round hinge. You will notice that the speaker cables are still connected to the screen. They will need to be unsoldered at 2 points in order to replace the top screen. Please be sure to click the link on the right side of the screen to take you to our website, DirectFix.com, for all your parts and accessory needs.